All right, so I have a new scope. And I'm really excited about the scope because it's cool. I also have a new rifle, the FN15 TAC 3. This is the new hotness in every single way. I'm going to plug a whole bunch of details about why it's so rad in the copy below, but they took kind of the standard baseline rifle and put everything that you want or that you're going to do to your rifle in one all improved, nearly a race gun. Mil spec everything, free floating, ambidextrous, custom stock, grip, trigger, everything. So pretty cool. So I wanted to treat a new amazing swoopy rifle with a new amazing swoopy optic. So I'm putting the Patrol 1 to 6, the Patrol 6 on this rifle. So I'm going to show you how to zero, and that's what this is. Got a whole bunch of stuff that you need to zero. Obviously, I have my rifle. I have the mount. I have the optic. I have the tools to mount said optic. I have good ammo, so I'm shooting the Varmageddon 55 grain 5.56. 55 grain is kind of a training run that I use a lot, and it's not what I go hunting with, but this rifle I'm going to use a lot on the range and in competition. So Varmageddon Nosler 55 grain is what's going on there. So first is setting up the rifle, and before we get into throwing our rounds on our zero target, you can zero on anything. When I'm zeroing a sniper rifle, especially after I get most of everything set, I really just take a sticky, I put it on a few stickies on the back of a cardboard, and then I use those stickies to zero off of. Having something like this makes it really easy, because when I set up my target at those prescribed distances, and every zero should be kind of built around what you're going to be doing with that weapon system. You know, if you're going to be shooting that rifle at pigs from a stand, you should have 100 meter zero if the feeder's 100 meters away from your stand. If this is going to be a range gun or a work gun, I'm going to take the average of where the majority of my engagements are going to be, and that is where I want my rifle to be zeroed at. I want to understand my holdovers, and my holdovers are going to be different depending on the distance that I set my I zero my rifle at. So when we set up a rifle, we have our mount. You want to mount there's three basic things putting the optic on. First is eye relief. Eye relief is how far away the optic is from my eye. So when I get the optic too far away, there's going to be the shadow, the black that goes around. When I get it too close, it's going to be out of focus, and then the exact same thing is going to happen the closer that optic gets. Is that shadow, is that blackness is going to be moving, and it's going to be hard to find the right cheek weld. But this right here is the proper eye relief. So this is how far I need to have the optic from my eye on the rifle. So if I put the optic on too close to my eye, I'm going to have this really difficult time of getting a proper cheek weld and finding my reticle. If the optic is too far forward, I'm going to have the exact same problem. I have to have this really weird, complex effort to find that reticle. So eye relief first. Second is leveling. When I'm taking long shots and I'm using a reticle, a designed reticle that enables me to shoot things, make wind calls, get bullet drop compensation, the reticle has to be perfectly level. That means you have to be on a level surface. The rifle has to be level for you to be able to level this. I do use bubbles, and I will put a level on top of my optic to make sure that it's perfectly level, but everything about what the rifle is sitting on to the optic sitting on top of the rifle has to be level first. So you level your table, then you level your gun, then you level the optic. Once you have your eye relief set and it's leveled, the next thing you have to do is adjust the focus of the reticle. So when you start adjusting the focus of the reticle, sometimes it's hard. You have to if you have to aim hard for you to be able to see the reticle, you have not focused the reticle properly. what you want is, I want to be able to close my eyes. I put the reticle against something that's a solid color. I open my eye, and that reticle should be clear. I shouldn't have to have my eye have to bring the reticle into focus. The moment my eye opens, it should automatically and immediately be in focus. So those are the three things that we're doing when we put the optic on. We want it to have a proper eye relief for our good cheek weld, and that cheek weld is going to be built off our length of pull. That's how far the rifle sits in our grip. I have a big head, so when I get a cheek weld, my head is going to be a little bit further forward than most people. I also have like a big kind of burly body, so again, that's going to push the rifle forward a little bit. So the cheek weld and your length of pull is going to be different for every single shooter, so get your eye relief right. After your eye relief, then you get your level. After you get your level, then you get to do your focus. Once you get your focus, then you can do the zeroing, which is the ballistic business, and that's a hard work. So first, mount the optic. Here we go. All right. Okay, so we got eye relief set, we have level check, then we have focus crystal clear. The reticle looks beautiful, pops up illuminated as soon as I bring the rifle up to my eye. Pretty sick. So the tension that you're supposed to mount the optic depends. So the little tiny screws, I use the little tiny loophole fix stick. So inside of here I have two different torque pressures. This fix stick, I got 25 inch pounds on this one, and then 65 on this one. So this one I use on the big mounting lugs that go on the Picatinny rail, and then this one I use to tighten the screws on top of the mount to mount the optic where I want it once it's level and I have my eye relief set. So once those things are done, so handy little thing that I just keep in my range bag, fix-it sticks. Every optic, listen, click. All right, so that click, that is a unit of measure, and for this one, that's a 1/4 minute of angle. So that means at 100 meters, one click equals a 1/4 inch. And that's pretty handy when you are using a target that has clearly defined measurement tools. I don't want to get up and walk down range 10 different times after I shoot my groups. Once I shoot a nice tight group, I can measure exactly how far I need to make my adjustment, and then I click, 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 pull off my scope cap, readjust it, put it back to 0, mount it, shoot again. Ooh, Yahtzee. I'm zeroed. You know, you could be done with 3 groups and call it a day. That's always the goal. Sometimes it doesn't go that way. That's totally fine. But what you want is a good zero. So zeroing your rifle exactly to the distance for the modality, the use that you're going to be doing it, that's important. Now, for me, it's time to put some rounds on target and start making our adjustments. So, getting to group. A group is when you shoot a few rounds together, you are going to use that group of rounds to measure where you need to move the reticle to move the optic to, so the point of aim is the point of impact, and those two things are happening with intentionality with the distance that you're set from the target. So you make your adjustments in the direction that you want the reticle to go. So if my bullets are impacting to the left and I need to move them to the right, on the optic it says up and down, left and right. So if I'm hitting low, my impacts are low and I need the bullets to impact high, I'm gonna turn this in the direction of the arrow to up because I'm moving the bullets up. So those are the adjustments. Final firing position. This is not sniper school, but you have to be able to have a really tight group to make real adjustments. So when you get down to your firing position, there's nothing wrong with shooting off a bag. There's nothing wrong with shooting with a sand sock or a rice sock. You want to be able to duplicate exactly the same shot every single time, so you have the smallest group possible so you can have the most accurate adjustment. So for me, I want to be totally aligned with my target. Once I'm aligned with my target, my heels are going to be flat on the ground. My quads are flat on the ground. I want the rifle to be naturally aligned with the target and my body. So even if I get in here and I push the rifle up against the bag, I can get on target. I can close my eyes. I can count to 10. I can open my eyes again, and Yahtzee, I'm still exactly on where I was aiming. Now that is a pretty good natural position. So I want it to be super comfortable and super natural. I take my support hand when I'm not in combat shooting, when I'm trying to get really accurate shots, and I tuck it underneath here so the rifle stays in a nice weld against my shoulder, and then my cheek stays exactly where I want it. My shooting hand, I take my thumb and I stay over on the trigger finger side. So I'm going to have a nice clean press of the trigger to the rear. Now, I get my exact sight picture. I lay my reticle in the center of the dot. I aim small as I can. I'm not just going to shoot at the center of this big black blob. I'm going to pick the cross-sectional line. And then I'm going to slowly press to the rear. Good breath control. All right, there's my 3-round group. Now we'll go measure and see what adjustments we need to make. All right, so each one of these little boxes, now you don't need the boxes, but it makes it easier. Each one of these boxes is 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna count from the center of where I was aiming. 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. So that's 2 inches. 2 inches for that on the middle of the angle adjustment is a 1/4 minute angle at 100 meters, but I'm at 25 here because I'm doing a 25, 300 meter zero. So I can just now go up, do my math, make my clicks, and call it a day, and now shoot my group to confirm. If I have to slip any of the scope rings, fine, but let's see what this next group looks like, and we might be able to call it a day. All right, so you normally have 2 adjustments. One is your vertical, which is the elevation up and down where the bullet's going to impact. And then you have your windage, which is your left to right. Normally, the arrow is going to point R right. And if I need to make my adjustments, like I need to here, my bullet's impacted on the left, and I need to move the bullets to the right. So here is the indicator, R. I need to turn it counterclockwise to make my adjustments. Now once I make my adjustments, I do this little tappy thing. I don't know if it makes a difference. And then I shoot again. Once I get the rounds to impact exactly where I want them, and I'm happy, then I slip my rings so everything is back to 0. So then I can make my adjustments if I have to take a really far shot off of already being on 0. So your reticle for this one, this Optic, has just an elevation exposed adjustment. The windage is covered, and I really like that for a variable power optic to go on a carbine. So I made my adjustments. Now we just need to confirm that our adjustments were right. Get back into it, my good shooter position. Good. Let's check out our zero. Call it a day. Math is cool. So here's my confirmed zero. Group is good. You know, it's like on the fence. Do I go up one click or do we call it perfect right there? Now we're like splitting the hairs of shooter ability. You know, all of the rounds are within one box. So we have a half-minute angle group. We're good with that. That's solid. What a rad rifle. Makes it really, really easy with good optics. So that's the art of zeroing. Now I know I have a 25 meter, 300 meter zero. That's in the path of the bullet climbing, reaching kind of terminal velocity, and the peak of that arch as it starts traveling back down. Those 2 points intersect at 25 and 300. So I like the 25, 300 meter zero. There's lots of different zeros out there. For a 16-inch rifle, I like to have the ability to shoot at something 400 or 500 meters away really easily, but also know my holdover to shoot at something real close. So there we go. Zero complete.